The human brain was designed to believe. Not evidence. Authority. A tie. A calm voice. A look that meets your eyes. Sometimes, those three things are more convincing than the truth itself. In 2024, an employee in Hong Kong transferred $25 million without asking a single question. He spoke to everyone in the meeting. He saw every one of them. But not a single person in that room was real. Today, can you trust everyone who claims to be who they say they are? Let's find out. Our brains make millions of decisions every single day. And most of the time, they rely on shortcuts instead of careful analysis. Psychologists call this shortcut authority bias. In the 1960s, Stanley Milgram proved it. When someone wearing a white lab coat gave an order, people were willing to do things that went against their own conscience. Status signals, clothing, tone of voice, and confident body language are often enough for the brain to label someone as trustworthy, before it even begins to question the details. Scammers know this, and they target that shortcut with precision. This is known as the prestige aura, an air of confidence that suppresses doubt before it even begins. But when was this tactic first used so masterfully? Let's go back to America in the 1960s, to a time when a young man posed as a doctor, a pilot, and a lawyer, without having the qualifications for any of them. Frank Abagnale Jr. His story is considered the blueprint for today's fraudsters. Abagnale ran away from home at the age of 16. Using a fake pilot's identity, he put on a Pan Am uniform. He flew for free for years, and no one ever questioned him. Because back then, airlines didn't share a common database. If he committed fraud in one state and moved to another, no one could track him. Then he worked in a hospital under a fake doctor's identity, without a single day of medical training. After that, he even joined the bar using a fake law degree. Using 8 different identities, he remained undetected for 5 years. Could he pull off the same deception today? No, but something far more dangerous has taken its place. Today, you don't even need a fake uniform. An artificial intelligence that can imitate your face and your voice is enough. And it happens at a speed Abagnale could never have imagined. Let's return to Hong Kong in 2024. Back to the meeting room we mentioned earlier. This time, let's tell the whole story from beginning to end. Because it became one of the most expensive meetings in history, Arup is one of the world's largest engineering companies. A finance employee at its Hong Kong office was invited to what seemed like an ordinary video meeting. On the screen were the company's CFO and several other senior executives. He recognized every one of them, their faces, their voices, even the way they moved. But none of them were real. Every single one was a real-time synthetic image generated by artificial intelligence. The figure posing as the CFO gave him a simple instruction during the meeting. An urgent transfer needed to be made. The employee transferred money, one payment after another, into 5 different bank accounts in Hong Kong. In total, $25 million. Not a single alarm was triggered, because everything he saw looked completely real. The only thing that was real was his trust. So how was this even possible? The attackers gathered every public video and audio recording they could find of the company's CFO. They trained an AI model to imitate his speaking style, facial expressions, and voice. Then they used that model live during a real-time video meeting. This wasn't a pre-recorded video. It was a live, interactive performance. And this wasn't an isolated incident. 1 year later, an almost identical scheme unfolded in Singapore. But this time, the attackers took it one step further. Because people had started to become suspicious of deepfakes. And the attackers knew it. So they turned that very suspicion into their most powerful weapon. The director received a message from someone pretending to be the company's CFO. The request was familiar, an urgent, confidential payment. But this time, the director hesitated. He had heard about deepfake scams. He wanted verification. The fake CFO had been expecting exactly that. "Let's have a video call," he said. The director felt reassured. Seeing was believing. But what he saw was fake, too. $499,000 were transferred in just a matter of minutes. The proof he asked for to ease his doubts turned out to be the trap itself. This is the new formula for fraud. Create urgency. Show a familiar face. Turn even the request for verification into a trap. 3 steps. And now, no one is truly safe just because they're skeptical. But are these 3 tactics unique to our time? No. The same pattern has repeated itself for centuries. Only the costume has changed. Throughout history, there have been people who claimed a throne that was never theirs, and convinced an entire nation to believe them. No one questioned their credentials, because they carried themselves with absolute confidence. People didn't believe the title itself. They believed the confidence with which that title was presented. The very same pattern was present in Arupe's meeting room. The only difference was that the crown had become a corporate badge, and the royal court had become a Zoom meeting. Authority is authority, whether it sits on a throne centuries ago or appears on a screen today. But how were these people eventually exposed? Abagnale was eventually captured in France. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison, but by helping the government as a consultant, he avoided serving most of that sentence. Today, he is widely known as an expert in fraud prevention. But the Arupe and Singapore cases didn't end that way. The attackers are still at large. The money disappeared through a web of untraceable accounts. To protect their reputations, companies often choose not to disclose incidents like these. Which means the cases we know about are probably just the tip of the iceberg. So how are companies protecting themselves? Voice signature analysis, multi-channel verification, and live challenge questions during video calls are among the methods now being developed. But every time technology advances, fraud evolves right alongside it. It's a race, and right now, it's impossible to say who's winning. So what does all of this mean for us? The phrase, "I saw it, so it must be real," is no longer as reliable as it once was. Seeing is no longer enough to believe. And that's a reality that affects every one of us. Because next time, the person on your screen could be your boss, a family member, or a close friend. Authority is no longer a title. It can be a performance created by an algorithm. And that performance becomes more convincing every single day. So who will be the next great imposter? Maybe a CEO. Maybe the voice of someone you love. Or maybe someone looking at your screen right now. Throughout history, the only thing that has ever exposed imposters is refusing to stop asking questions. So the next time you meet someone who seems absolutely certain, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this really what I'm seeing? If this video made you stop and think, even for just a moment, subscribe, and let's uncover the next great deception together. See you in the next one.